Hey friends, welcome back. Welcome to my channel. My name is Miata Lebele. If you are coming back, that means you have already watched episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and joined me for my reviews for those. So thank you guys so much. Before we jump in, please remember to subscribe, thumbs up, get in the comment section. Let's be a whole family. This episode's gonna run long. Probably all my other ones ran long too, but this one really is gonna run long. This was a deeply disappointing episode for me. Now, if you have not read the books, I'm gonna deep dive into some of the stuff that happens in the books as it pertains to this episode specifically. I've already said in one of my other reviews, both in my, I think, Men of Bridgerton review and in my overall review of the series, that one of the things I was super worried about is how they were gonna handle this particular storyline with Simon. Answer is, they really didn't handle it at all. Now, in my overall Bridgerton review, I was like, hey, it's a little bit better than what they did in the books, and it is, but non-consensual sex is still non-consensual sex. So, like, how much better can you do if you're still not really fixing the storyline? I will get into that towards, the end of the episode when we get to that portion of the show. I was so upset. I was like, they don't even deserve me wearing a dress. I'm not wearing a dress today. But I am wearing, can y'all see this? It is my stay home and read a romance novel sweatshirt from The Ripped Bodice. The Ripped Bodice is a romance novel bookstore that is in LA. I believe it's in Culver City, if I'm not mistaken. And they have been selling merch. So I bought this a little while ago. They also did my makeup like a movie villain because I was mad at this episode, okay? Okay, now we can get started. We begin with the incredibly in love, incredibly horny couple arriving at Cliveden. All of the staff is lined up to meet their new masters of the house, but the only thing Daphne and Simon are interested in is boom, 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 banging. The first thing he says when they walk in is like, I want to show you my bedroom. Meanwhile, back in London, everyone is at this kind of daytime party. Penelope and Eloise are still not talking to each other. And besides for that, Violet is bothering Eloise, telling her she needs to get ready for her own season and go to the modiste to get her hems dropped. Fashion during this time is so funny to me because what? You come of age and your hems drop and your boobs come out. It's just like, what? And then Colin decides to announce at this party, unbeknownst to his mother or his brothers, that he and Marina are gonna be wed. This, of course, is so upsetting to Penelope, who's standing to the side like, how is no one aware that Penelope is in love with Colin? In the books, no one really knows this. Like, I don't think Eloise had any idea about Colin and Penelope even being a thing, and she's best friends with Penelope. It is so clear that this woman wants Colin. Anyways, this upsets both Anthony and his mother, and Anthony pulls Colin to the side and is like, you barely know this young lady. I really failed you by not taking you to brothels and helping you to sow your wild oats because you obviously are in lust with her. You don't know what love is. This is ridiculous. And Colin is all like, no, brother, this is love. You don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? I don't even need you to tell me what to do. I just want your blessing. Obviously, Anthony does not give it, and Colin kind of stalks off like the little boy he is. I'm gonna try to be nice to these characters, but Back at Cliveden, Daphne and Simon have barely left their bed. They're both talking to each other with just morning breath in each other's faces. And Daphne tells Simon that she actually needs to leave the bed because she needs to kind of make her way around the house and start talking to Mrs. Coulson. After she leaves, Jeffries, who is Simon's manservant, comes in and tells Simon that he needs to see to the ledgers. Basically, Simon's last steward kind of like ran the estate into the ground a little bit, and Simon needs to clean up some shit. Now, as Daphne is going around the house with Mrs. Coulson, it is very clear that Mrs. Coulson does not like her. She does not think that she is a proper young duchess, especially because Daphne is going around interrupting her every time Mrs. Coulson's trying to explain stuff. Daphne keeps telling her that she's going to change new stuff in the house, so Miss Coulson kind of has a stick up her butt. I was kind of sad about this because in the books, Mrs. Coulson is described as being a handsome woman in her 50s who is kind and talkative. I would love for Daphne to have a kind of cohort in the house who's going to show her around and show her how to be a new duchess versus them having yet another random villain. They did the same to Nigel Burbrook. They'll keep trying to find drama in different places, but by doing that, they're taking away some of the wonderful relationships that we were able to see in the books. In the books, Mrs. Coulson had actually been the first Duchess's lady maid before she became the housekeeper, and had known the first Duchess for like her entire life. She had been her companion even before she was her lady's maid. So it's just kind of like, this woman loves what she does, and she loves being like the housekeeper to the Duchess, and she wouldn't have treated Daphne like this. I don't know, it's just something the show wanted to do. It's fine, it's not a huge criticism, but I'm just like, man, everybody's mean. Mrs. Coulson kind of brings Daphne over to the nursery, and Daphne, knowing that her and Simon aren't having kids, immediately wants to leave the room. Later on that night, Daphne and Simon are having dinner, and, you know, they're at this super long table, and Simon's like, come a little bit closer. So, you know, Daphne comes a little bit closer to him, and then he kind of seductively begins to take off her glove. And y'all, they skip dinner, okay? They absolutely skip dinner because they got to get to the important shit, the SEXXXXXX. Now, please enjoy my reenactment of what happens for the next 5 minutes on this television show. It was like some Dr. Seuss. It's like they fuck in a hat, they fuck on a rat, they fuck near a rabbit, they fuck in a habit. I mean, I was just like, wow, they are enjoying their honeymoon. I will say though, what I was really excited about, and I have mentioned this before in my Men of Bridgerton review, Simon goes down on Daphne and in the library. Guys, this does not happen in the books. Simon never does this in the books. He may do it, you know, off page, but I wanted some of this. This is what she needs. She's a young woman. This is the first man she's been with. Get in there. Back at the Bridgerton house, the whole family is having breakfast, and Colin walks in, and you can tell shit is really strained between them. Violet is obviously upset that Colin didn't tell her about this. At the Featherington house, we have a little scene where Marina is talking to Prudence and Philippa about her new engagement, and Penelope comes in and is just sour as hell and sits on the sofa and starts making all kinds of cutting remarks. Even though Marina keeps trying to engage her in conversation, it is clear Penelope is done with her. She don't want to talk to her about shit. Marina keeps pleading to her, telling her that she never would have made it through if Penelope hadn't been there for her. And Penelope is just like, listen, all right, I'm never gonna betray you. I'm never gonna betray my family, but what you're doing to Colin is wrong. Penelope, girl, you the devil and a liar, okay? On the other side of town, Eloise is at the modiste getting her hems dropped. The Featheringtons show up trying to get a new pelisse and dresses made for Marina for the upcoming wedding. And like we learned in a previous episode, they ain't got no money. So Madame Delacroix is all like, yeah, see, what's not gonna happen is y'all not getting no dresses till you pay your bill. But Marina, our girl Marina, can tell that Madame Delacroix is faking her French accent because Marina's mother is French. So Marina starts speaking a little Frenchy French and she's like, hey girl, do you want me to tell everybody in town that you are not French? Yeah, that's what I thought. Make me a dress. Now, this is probably rich privilege. I probably should not be happy about this. Madame Delacroix does need some money for her hard work. We love Marina, so we gon' take this cut down. But I will say, y'all, stop treating the working class women like this. This is wrong. Back at the Fuck Palace, the newlyweds attend a fair and watch a pig contest of sorts with their tenants. So Daphne does not know how this contest works, and so she asks someone like, hey, so what happens to the winner? And they say, well, the pig that wins gets slaughtered, and Daphne, not wanting that to happen, declares that all the pigs are the winners so that none will have to be slaughtered. And you can tell by looking around at their tenants that they are pissed. After the contest, she and Simon kind of walk around and buy stuff from different tenants at this fair. They run into a woman who has a child, and Daphne is obviously so good with children. I mean, she has 7 other brothers and sisters. She loves children. And Simon is looking on at this, and you can tell he's a little uncomfortable. They leave, they're walking through this field, and Daphne's like, Simon, I hope it wasn't too uncomfortable for you to see children. I know you can't have them. Simon is all like, no, it was wonderful seeing you with kids. You're gonna make an amazing aunt. At night, Marina, looking absolutely resplendent, goes with the Featheringtons to the Bridgerton house for supper. And y'all, this was an awkward ass dinner because nobody in the Bridgerton house is happy about this marriage. Okay, Violet is trying to engage them in a little conversation, but she's not feeling it. Anthony has nothing to say or to add to the conversation because he does not want this to happen. Portia mentions maybe having a really fast engagement, and Anthony's like, nah. It'll happen when it happens. After the dinner, Prudence and Philippa have this little they decide to be the entertainment, and they play and sing a song which is horrific. It is so bad. It reminded me a lot of if you've read the books, there's the Smythe Smith musicals that happen once a season. Basically, there's a family, I think they're called the Smythe Smiths, and they force their girls once a season to put on a musicale or put on a play, and they are horrific. And I love this running bit that happens in every book, because every single one of the Bridgerton goes and it's just like, why did we come? Why do we have to come to this shit every year? I kind of wish we had gotten to see that. I know the show wanted to keep on Daphne and Simon and on, Featherington stuff, but I would love like more comedic moments that happened in the books to be happening in the show. So they're at this dinner and Colin excuses himself and Penelope runs out after him and is like, Colin, I gotta tell you something. And Colin is like, what's good, girl? And she's like, Marina's in love with someone else. You shouldn't marry her. And Colin's like, girl, why am I worried about some man that ain't even here, right? Like, Marina is mine now. And Marina must have known what was up, because Marina comes out into the hallway and looks at Penelope like, what's good, girl? What the hell you doing with my man, girl? And she sends Penelope back in the room. And my girl Marina comes up with a plan. She's like, Colin, your family hates me. No one's happy for me. I just wish we could get married right now. And Colin, being the little puppy dog that he is like, oh my God, let's run away to Gretna Green. Now, y'all, I love a romance novel where they run away to Gretna Green. Gretna Green is usually in romance novels when you want to get married really, really quick, so you can't get a special marriage license, or for some reason your family does not want you to marry someone, you run away to Scotland to get married at Gretna Green. Daphne, meanwhile, back at Cliveden is looking sadly over at the nursery again. And Simon is super busy in the office now because he realizes that the ledgers are completely messed up and he's got to do something for his tenants. So anyways, Daphne decides to be the Duchess. Her mother has told her that the best thing to do as a Duchess is to go around and give their tenants like little presents, right? So she fills up a basket filled with flowers and honey and bread to go take to the tenants in town. Honey, they don't want nothing to do with Daphne. Turns out, Daphne messed up when she said that all the pigs won at the fair. It's tradition that whenever one of the pigs wins in that fair game, it's tradition that the winner is to supply pork to Cliveden for the entire year. So basically, whichever farmer's pig won, that farmer then got a contract with the Duke to supply the Duke with all of the pork. So basically, when she declared all the pigs the winner, none of them won, and now no farmer is gonna get income from selling his pork to the Duke. And baby, this is the point when the whole episode started to go left, okay? Daphne decides to try to have like a woman-to-woman talk with Mrs. Coulson. This is something that does happen in the book, although Mrs. Coulson in the book is super happy to have this conversation. And Daphne starts talking to her about the house and about Simon being uncomfortable in the house. And Mrs. Coulson starts to open up and she tells her a little bit about the relationship between the late Duke and Duchess. She explains that the Duke wanted an heir, the Duchess wanted a son, and the Duchess kept trying to have a kid, even when the doctors told her that she needed to stop. When Mrs. Coulson explains that it wasn't fair that everyone blames women for their barrenness, sometimes it's the man's weak seed that causes them to not have a child. And this is an oh shit moment, because now Daphne knows that something is up with Simon and his pullout game. This is exactly how Daphne found out in the books as well. That night, Penelope, all sad and whiny, decides to skip out on a party. She pretends that she's sick, and she makes her way to Marina's room to search for, I think, the letters that Marina has. While she's searching, she finds a packed bag, which is her first inkling that something is going on with Marina and Colin. Then she finds the letters and starts comparing them, and that's when she realizes that her mother forged that letter from George Crane and that Marina has never gotten a response from him. Marina bursts into the room. I have no idea why Marina is still home and why Penelope thought it was a good time to go snooping, but okay. So Marina comes in and is like, what the hell are you doing in my room? And Penelope's like, look, the letters, they're forged. See, George Crane never wrote you back. Leave Colin alone. Marina's like, okay, they're forged. I get that, but he still has never written me. He hasn't come home to me. I'm gonna get married to Colin. And Penelope is like, no, Colin deserves better. And that's when it finally clicks for Marina. Thank you, girl, that Penelope is in love with Colin. Marina tells Penelope that Marina knows more of the world, and if she has to be the executioner of Penelope's childhood infatuation, then that's who she'll be. He very unkindly tells Penelope that Colin only sees her like as a little sister, like he doesn't see her as anything other than Eloise or even Hyacinth. And Marina explains to her like, girl, I have to do this for my child. What do you want me to do? And of course, Penelope's all upset and she goes stomping off. Guys, I'm sorry. This is gonna be a Penelope slander video review series because again, this is not the same Penelope as the book. So for those of us that love Penelope of the books, we can go ahead and slander her on the TV show because we know she is wilding out here. Back at Cliveden, Daphne and Simon are once again getting to do the deed, and he pulls out, and at this point she now knows that something is up. You know, she gives him a look like, yeah, this is the seed everybody was talking about. So after they finish, she immediately goes and finds her lady's maid, Rose, and it's just like, Rose, please explain to me what sex is. And this is why I'm so mad at Lady Violet. All she had to do was explain to her daughter, we would not be in this situation. Like, Lady Violet, come on. And of course, Daphne, when she finds out, she is so betrayed. The whole, there's a whole like minute-long sequence of Daphne just like having this look of betrayal and sadness on her face as Simon's talking on at her and she's barely like even phased or paying attention. Okay guys, I'm just gonna do real quick content warning. I'm definitely gonna be talking about rape and assault and non-consensual sex from here on out. So if you wanna hop out right now, that is totally fine. I'll give you guys quick content warning, trigger warning that we're about to go in on this, okay? So that night, you can tell Daphne has made up her mind about what she's going to do. Simon asks her if she's ready for bed and she has this look on her face and she says, yes, my lord. She goes with him and at first he's on top, but then she flips him and starts to ride him. And Simon, he's about to come and he looks at her and he says, wait. Says it twice. Daphne, she keeps going, and he has this look on his face that's like, oh, please stop. And he says, Daphne, but he keeps going, like she's still on top of him, riding him, and then he comes. Daphne gets off him and puts on her robe and he's looking at her and he starts to stutter a little bit and he keeps calling out her name, Daphne. And then finally Daphne turns around. Like, what did you do? And Daphne's all like she has a right to be betrayed. She's like, I'd hoped it wasn't true. I'd hoped that you weren't lying to me, but you were lying to me. And he asked her, how could you? And Daphne acts like she's the one in the wrong. She keeps telling him that he's the one that betrayed her. He's the one that humiliated her, that he lied to her and took advantage of the fact that she didn't know what sex was. And Simon starts to say, well, I thought you already knew. And she cuts him off and she's like, no, you knew I didn't know. You lied to me. And she starts to go on and on about how he took everything from her, how he knew that she wanted to be a mother. And Simon is like, Daphne, I would have died rather than taking that opportunity away from you. And she's like, no, you took everything away from me. And she leaves the room. Okay, this is really hard for me because I don't even know where to start with the levels of fucked upness that is in this TV show and in the books. I feel like I did a real disservice in my overall Bridgerton review where I was like, they did a little better. Honestly, like I said before, you can't do better if the sex that is being had is not really consensual on both parts. So even if you think you did better than the books, how much better is it if there's still a problem with whether or not the sex is consensual? I feel like the show very purposefully made it a little more muddied so that an audience wouldn't be like, that's rape, because in the book, it is very specifically, to me and to many a reader of The Duke and I, rape. It is so bad to me that I cannot actually recommend The Duke and I to any person. I tell people to always read the series from books 2 through 8. Please don't read the first book. I'm gonna read to you part of the sex scene that influenced what we just saw. Let me set it up first. So in the books, Daphne finds out that Simon has been lying to her about how sex works and how babies come. And she actually confronts him. And he's like, I told you I couldn't have kids. And she does the same thing. No, you said you can't, but it's that you won't. And she actually is just like, I don't want to be around you anymore. We're not having sex anymore. We're done with each other. And Simon gets really upset. He's like, you can't do that. I'm your husband. So Simon in the books, he gets drunk. He's super upset. He misses his wife. He goes and gets drunk. He comes back home and knocks on her door and is like, Daphne, let me in. And Daphne, not wanting the servants to hear them, lets him into the room, and Simon gets on the bed and he falls asleep. Daphne also falls asleep, but she wakes up and Simon has a boner. Because that often happens to men while they sleep. That's completely normal. But she decides that he is asleep and he's a little drunk, that this would be a really good time to have sex with him and he won't even realize really what's going on. Drink number 1! So they start having sex. She kind of wakes him up with sex. They start having sex. And then she gets on top. And then she starts to ride him. And she starts to ride him. And then I'm going to read you what happens when Simon is about to come. Oh Christ, he suddenly burst out, his voice harsh and primitive with need. I can't. His eyes pinned upon her with a strange, pleading sort of look. And he made a feeble attempt to pull away. Daphne bore down on him with all of her might and he exploded within her. Planted her hands underneath him, using all of her strength to hold him against her. She would not lose him this time. She would not lose this chance. Simon's eyes flew open as he came, as he realized too late what he had done. If he had been on top, he might have found the strength to pull away. I've had people tell me they didn't think that this was rape. I don't know if they haven't gone back to read this specific paragraph, but when a person says, oh Christ, I can't, and tries to pull away from you, and then you hold them to your body, and when a person specifically says that if he was on top, he would have pulled away, but someone's holding him to her, and so he couldn't, are you out of your, that is, guys, I'm sorry, that to me, that is just like open and closed case. Like that is so violating. Goes on to say, Daphne had aroused him in his sleep, taken advantage of him while he was slightly intoxicated, and held him to her while he poured his seed into her. He literally says, taken advantage of him. It's really interesting to me because Julia Quinn, someone has told me that Julia Quinn said that she doesn't believe that this scene is rape, and I'm like, I can't see it as anything other than that. He then says, how could you? But Daphne, curled into a little ball, her knees against her chest, obviously determined not to lose a single drop of him. She doesn't even say she's sorry. She doesn't even say, I shouldn't have done that. Instead, she curls into a little ball so that his semen won't slip out of her. Something that we actually see Daphne do at the very end of this episode. The books, Simon's stutter is far worse than it is in the TV show. In the TV show, he'll stutter here and there, but it's not a lot. In the books, he is so violated and he is so upset about the violation. His stutter gets so bad that he feels like he's choking. He actually cannot get any words out at all. Like he feels like sick to his stomach. Upset, and he's like, why did you do that to Daphne? And Daphne says, did what? Daphne cried, pulling a sheet around her. Simon, stop this. What did I do that was so wrong? You wanted me. You know you wanted me. Have any jokes for this section? It's not funny to me at all. I get so upset. It actually says in the books that she was not ashamed of her actions. She supposed she should be, but she wasn't. So then in the books, Simon is so upset with Daphne and he can't really speak that he leaves the house. He actually leaves Daphne for like 2 months. And then instead of having Simon stick by his guns and be like, no, what she did was violating, I'm gonna read some stuff. So Simon says that she'd taken something from him that he quite frankly hadn't wanted to give. He didn't want children. He told her that. She'd married him knowing that, and she tricked him. And then it's like, or had she? He rubbed his eyes as he tried to remember the exact details. Daphne had been the leader in their lovemaking, but he distinctly recalled his own voice urging her on. He should not have encouraged what he knew he could not stop. So then Julia Quinn, and this also kind of happens in the TV show, kind of starts to like shift the blame partially to Simon. Now we know Simon was not truthful to Daphne when he told her that he could not have children. It's that he did not want them. That is true. But the fact that any of the blame for this violation is shifted to Simon is so disgusting to me. It's one of the reasons why, again, I cannot stand this book. Whew, okay, I'm done. But so what upsets me about all of this, getting back to the show, what upsets me about all of this is the fact that like, I just knew in my mind, Julia Quinn has had 20 years to change this. She's had 20 years to think about how she could change the situation. She is an EP on this show. She's had 20 years to think about it. We have we have the showrunner who has worked on Grey's Anatomy. We have all of these people involved in this project, and y'all couldn't figure out one way to fix this? Given that this show has changed so much about the books, the fact that they couldn't just make it so Daphne finds out that Simon's been lying to her and she leaves, that's actually all we needed. That could have been the only betrayal that happens. And then Simon and her spend time apart before he goes back to find her. I cannot believe that the show decides to leave this in. They didn't need to. It only really needed to be about Daphne finding out that Simon didn't want kids and that causing a rift between them, especially given the fact that the show doesn't have them like leave each other for 2 months. They're just mad at each other for a period of time. That's all it needed to be, especially because the show never really talks about the violation at all. Simon never brings it up. The book at least kind of brings it up, but the show is just like, it wasn't a thing. Bye. We can move on now. Okay, now we back in London, and Penelope is all sad about Colin wanting to get married to Marina and all the stuff going on Marina just said to her. So Penelope goes over to Eloise, who is outside on the swing, and starts to cry, and they clearly reconcile. And then, the next day, it comes out in Lady Whistledown that Marina is already pregnant, that she's been pregnant all season, and that she was trying to trap Colin into marriage. And then we end the episode with that moment I told you about with Daphne holding her legs to her, holding the seed to her as she thinks about Simon's great betrayal. There there's not much to add at the end of this. I have clearly said all of my piece with what I'm upset about with this episode. This is not really fun for me to talk about because, y'all, I just knew in my heart they were gonna change this. I was like, look at all of these writers. It is 2020. We have had so many conversations now about what consent is and what consent should be. There is no way that they're gonna make this mistake. I just knew they were not gonna do this. So I don't even have words to really say. I did see someone comment in one of the other videos that Daphne most likely has no idea what consent is. I do agree with that Daphne thought, this is my husband, I can do what I want with his body. People back then had some real fucked up viewpoints of what they could do with their spouses' bodies. But the show knows what an audience expects. The show knows where the book went wrong, and y'all it just didn't need to be there. Anyways, let's put on our seatbelts. Let's get ready for episode 7, where there's so many misunderstandings and everyone is still mad at each other. Hooray! I really like this show, but this was so fucked up for me. I can't even be excited about talking about this episode anymore. So guys, I love you so much. Please remember to thumbs up, subscribe, talk about the show in the comments. If you're like Miata, you are so wrong about this being a rape situation. Read book 1 and let me know how you feel about it. Like really, really, really read it. Read the words where Simon is saying, I did not want this. She knew I didn't want this, and then come back to me. Guys, I'll see you later. Bye.